Hello everyone, my name is Hendrik Elvang Jensen, and it has been a privilege to be a part of the work with this global guideline for the diagnosis and management of candidiasis. And my focus in this project has been to add for the direct microscopy and histopathology. And the direct microscopy and histopathology is situated down here in this pathway, and if we highlight it, you can see it is strongly recommended to use for the diagnosis of candidiasis. And these recommendations have been obtained from a number of publications, and as you can see here, they have also been scored with an A, so it is highly recommended to use both histopathology and also direct microscopy, and preferably when we are using direct microscopy, we are using optical brighteners to enhance the morphology of the fungi. And by the brighteners, we can use different colors and we can use different filters in order to have them green stained, or as in this case, blue stained. However, uh, in the histopathology, where we are using formalin fixed paraffin embedded tissue sections, we are primarily using the stains of PAS and Grocott methenamine silver, the GMS stains for highlighting the fungi. And in this case here, you can see that the fungi here, and it is Candida albicans, on the epithelial lining of an intestine, and you can see them very clearly red stained. And another thing which we are very curious about is if they are elicting an inflammatory reaction together with the presence on an epithelial surface, because it is indicative of invasion, and this is actually the case in this case here. Uh, but as a pathologist, we will usually, if we are not informed about a suspicion of a mycosis, we will use an H&E stain. And in this stain, the Candida species are very difficult to localize. And you can see I have put an arrow on here, and you can see the hyphal structures of, again, Candida albicans, and you can see the inflammatory reaction here. So here we surely have an invasive mycosis due to Candida albicans. But again, if we want to be sure it is actually a mycosis, then we will use, as in this case, a PAS staining. But as a pathologist, we need to look at the inflammatory reaction also, and that we have a lot of necrosis here, as you can see, to ensure that it is an invasive infection and not just a colonization, for example, or contamination. Uh, in this case, we have a liver, and you can see the normal liver tissue out here to the left, and you can see this process here, and it is actually a granulomatose lesion in the liver, and you can see these big cells up here, and because of the presence of these, we will call it a granulomatous inflammation, and it is together with the suppuration here, so therefore it's a pure granulomatous inflammation. And actually in this section you don't see any functional elements before we are adding the Grocott stain, which is highly recommended to use if you have a suspicion of any mycosis, including also Candida infections. And they are nicely present here, and at a higher magnification, you can also see that actually the yeast cells are budding in this case. So it's for sure a mycosis case we are dealing with here, and it is again Candida albicans actually. Then we have different shapes of fungal elements in candidiasis cases, and mostly we will see yeast cells when we are dealing with non-albicans species. However, some of the non-albicans fungi, for example Tropicalis and Kefir, will also produce cytohyphae and hyphae. And here is a case of glabratus, and as you can see, it is purely consisting of yeast cells, and at a higher magnification you can also see the yeast cells here, and they have different sizes. And when we are looking at these from a pathological point of view, we simply can't differentiate these from, for example, histoplasma and other yeast-forming mycoses. However, sometimes we can see the buddings here, but still it can also be other fungi, for example also cryptococci, and we simply can't differentiate these from each other. In particular, difficult it is to differentiate the fungi and state a complete exact diagnosis when we have multiple yeast cells and only a few, as you can see here and here, a few hyphal structures, because it might be a candida infection, this one. However, it could also be a dual infection, for example, with two or more fungi present. And therefore, we need to be very careful looking at the fungal structures and localize both the hyphal structures as here, and as you can see at these arrowheads, the pseudohyphae. So it is very important to carefully look through all the fungal structures and describe the shapes of these. And here is another example also of Candida albicans, and as you can see in the true hyphae you will have septation as pointed out by these arrows here. And more difficult, of course, it gets when the whole Candida infection, and again it is Candida albicans here, when it is made up by filamentous fungi, because then they may easily be confused with, for example, fusariosis and aspergillosis and scedosporidiosis, etc. In this example here, we have invasion of a blood vessel, and you can see there's thrombosis here, and you have the wall of the blood vessel out here, and there is vasculitis, and actually we can't localize any fungi by this H&E stain. However, when we apply the Grocott methenamine stains, we can see that there are multiple functional elements within the blood vessels and actually also outside this blood vessel. And again, it is a case of Candida albicans. And in order to find out in situ what we are dealing with, we can apply immunohistochemistry and in situ hybridization techniques in order to get a more specific diagnosis of the functional elements. And there are, for example, monoclonal antibodies which are specific towards Candida albicans and will differentiate it from other functional elements, for example, Fusarium, Aspergillus, etc. And the same is actually true for the in situ hybridization techniques. And this is how it looks when we are applying these techniques, for example, on the vessel. And here we can see that it is red stained where we have the Candida albicans elements. And this can also be done, for example, in this brain tissue here, where it is actually also a Candida albicans infection, and it can morphologically be confused, mixed up with aspergillosis and fusariosis, etc. However, again, we can do an immunostain, for example, with a monoclonal antibody, which will only take staining of the Candida elements, and by this way try to secure the diagnosis of candidiasis. However, the problem with these in situ techniques is that you need to have a huge panel of control tissues to be sure that the antibodies or the probes are not cross-reacting with other fungi in order to make them trustable. And therefore, in the guideline, it is only partly recommended to use these because it demand a very big setup of controls in order to be reliable in the diagnosis with these techniques. So finishing this presentation, there's no doubt that direct microscopy and histopathology, and especially histopathology, is the golden standard in order to prove that you have an invasive lesion due to Candida species, and thereby state a diagnosis of candidiasis within organs. So finally, I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and especially I would like to thank the chair of this global guideline, Oliver Corneli, for inviting me to be a part of his project. So have a nice day.